60 Minutes Rewind.
If you don't know the name Stephen Sondheim, you know his words and music. Sondheim once said that if he hadn't become a Broadway writer and composer, he would have been a teacher. In a sense, he's managed to do both. His songs have taught us all something about growing up, getting hurt, settling in, growing old. Songs that make you wonder what it must be like to do what Stephen Sondheim can do.
There's that first moment, the first flush, the falling in love, and then you got to let it cook and see if you're still in love in the morning, because it's a form of showing off. But it's also a form of sharing. You want to say, hey, I caught this moment with people, but it's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. It's what everybody who writes or paints or composes feels, or else they wouldn't go on with it. If you didn't get those moments, you couldn't put up with the rest of it, the loneliness and the tedium and the endless amounts of work, the sweat.
Sweat that produced the lyrics for Gypsy.
You'll be swell, you'll be great. I like to be in America.
West Side Story.
America, everything free in America.
Something familiar.
A funny thing happened on the way to the Forum.
Something for everyone. A comedy tonight.
He's the reigning heavyweight champion of American musical theater. Don't expect Stephen Sondheim to give you songs about the moon in June. He writes about disappointment, ambivalence, bittersweet joy. In short, songs about the way people really feel. Sondheim has been writing on the nerve ending since he was a teenager. His parents divorced. He was lonely and spent a lot of time with his next-door neighbor, even asking advice on an original high school show. Nice when the man next door is Oscar Hammerstein.
I had said to him, please treat this as if it just crossed your... I was 15 years old. As if it just crossed your desk, and pretend I don't know you. And I said, all right, in that case, I have to say it's the worst thing that's ever crossed my desk. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's the most unproducible. It makes no sense. And I was stunned because I was sure he was going to say, well, look, with a few changes, Dick and I would like to produce this next fall, and I'd be the first 15-year-old to have a show on Broadway.
He really did say the worst thing I ever heard.
Worst sounds cruel, and he was not cruel that way. But he made it very clear that if I were going to ask for professional standards, he was going to treat me like a professional, and he was going to show me that this was inept from the first stage direction.
Do you find yourself paying tribute to him in your lyrics sometimes? Do you hear him?
I'm a city boy, and Oscar, though he was a city boy, wrote a lot of bucolic images, and he did talk about larks learning to pray, and he said, I believe these, you don't, and when I hear your lyrics, I know that's not what you feel. He said, write the way you feel, don't write the way I feel. And then he said the key thing, he said, if you do that, you'll be 90% ahead of the game and 90% ahead of everybody else. And as soon as he put it on a competitive level, I thought, oh, I get to be better than everybody else if I write like myself? So I did, right from that moment.
Hey, I'm the brave, Nalakan, I'm the bride!
So take him to a head shrinker. You!
So what does a city boy write about? In West Side Story, a street kid mocks those bleeding heart excuses for his delinquent behavior.
My daddy beats my mommy clobbers me, my grandpa is a commie, my grandma pushes tea, my sister wears a mustache, my brother wears a dress. Goodness gracious, that's why I'm a mess.
Could I leave you on your shelves of the world's best books?
In the musical Follies, a Sondheim character sings a twisted anthem to a dead marriage.
Sullen glares from those injured eyes leave the quips with a sting, jokes with a sneer, passionless lovemaking once a year leave the lies.
In A Little Night Music, a maid celebrates promiscuity.
It's a very short road from the pinch and the punch to the paunch and the pouch and the pensions.
I'm trying to imagine what it is to be able to sit down and write, it's a very short road from the pinch and the punch to the paunch and the pouch and the pension. Does it make you laugh?
Yeah, once I got the idea of that song, well, it's true of all the songs I write, particularly when they're very verbal songs. You make lists is what you do. And you start getting into the character. It's always about getting into the character. And you start to make lists of what she would talk about. And you suddenly find that certain words either, if they don't rhyme with each other, relate to each other. and things concatenate. It's very much about serendipity. It's a very much, oh, I didn't think. Pinch, paunch, pension. Once you get the idea of, let's say, jowls, and you think of pouch, you say, wait a minute, those, you know, that maybe we can make something out of the similarity of those sounds. So then you think, all right, let's go to the Thesaurus and look up all the words that begin with P and have a CH sound in them.
Go to the
That's right.
Thesaurus?
Oh, the Thesaurus, I have the most well-thumbed thesaurus and rhyming dictionary. Oh, this whole thing, this mystique about not using reference books is nonsense. Why should you have to sit there for 5 days and try to think of all the words that begin with P, that have a CH, when you've got a nice book that gives you all the words?
I guess I'll live.
Oh, come on. This is really, this has never occurred to you before this?
No, I have to tell you, it didn't.
My goodness.
I was sure you sat there and they tumbled out.
Oh, my goodness, no.
I was imagining
Can you imagine the kind of encyclopedic mind you'd have to know all the words? You know, rhymes, trick rhymes, you have to think up yourself. But to rhyme bay, do you know how many rhymes there are for that? How many dozens of words? You can't think them all up yourself. And looking down the list will give you ideas.
Tell me what happens at the moment when you have the words that go with the music, that go with the emotion. What is that like?
Oh, the answer will disappoint you. All it does is make me want to call my collaborator and say, I got it, you got to come over here, the song. Wait till you hear what I've done. Wait till you hear what I've done. I got it. That's all right.
He's my best friend, what?
He got it all right, and the critical acclaim that goes with it. He's won 5 Tony Awards.
And the winner is...
Year after year, older and older.
Not that Sondheim suits everyone's taste. Sometimes the audiences show up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes he startles them with musicals that don't bother to have a story at all, like Company and Follies, which are more like musical essays about love and marriage and fading dreams. And then there are plays with stories no one else would touch, even a horror musical called Sweeney Todd.
At last, my arm is complete again!
What's the process for you, the emotional process for you, as a play gets headed toward Broadway?
Oh, I get terrified, because for me, the fun is the writing. Once it gets into rehearsal, I just want to go away. Most people look forward to the rehearsal process. I feel just the reverse. I start to feel embarrassed, frightened. That's where I start to think, oh, people will hate this. Oh, my goodness, they won't think that song's funny. And the actors will think, oh, God, we got to sing this terrible song, but we got to earn a living. That's where I get really neurotic. Slightly different in the covenant. I just think there are too many notes in this.
We followed him to London, where he was worrying over the London production of Follies.
Da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da, chatter, 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 yum, bum, 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 ba-da, which is 2 bars less. Now, first of all, did you put those left pauses in? Because I didn't put them in. Anyway, you're going to run this part of it at the end of the afternoon or something? Because what I'll do is I'll work on some music and then see how it feels. Okay.
Okay, once more. House lights are out.
Time I could have spent so content, wasting time with you.
If Sondheim lyrics are complicated, sometimes so is Sondheim music. Not always a tune you hear once and sing.
One more time, but now with confidence, because the "with you" is really the climax of the phrase. Don't drop your voice at the end of it, obviously. Room might be filled with you. That's the "you" is the climactic word, and so don't drop your voice on it, but push up. One more time. Too many mornings.
Too many mornings, wishing that the room might be filled with you. Morning to morning.
All right, but you were just a little late. I don't want to make a bug out of this, but the num-ba-da-dum-ba-da.
The story will continue after this.
For you, is the worst word in the English language hummable?
Oh, no. The whole thing about hummability has to do with familiarity.
Well, but there are songs that you do leave the theater humming.
Only if either you've heard something very similar before, which is most of the time, that is, say, the tune is vaguely familiar, or it's been played a lot during the evening. Music is very difficult to take in on the first hearing, unless it's familiar.
Tonight, tonight, the world is wild and bright.
It's exactly like prose writing or any kind of writing. It's express the emotion and express the character. I've often used the image that, you know, if you ask me to write a love song, I don't know what to write. But if you say, now write me a love song about a girl who's just been jilted by a guy, and she comes into a bar, and she's in a red dress, and she orders a grasshopper, that I can write, because you've started to characterize and give me specifics to write about. Now I know there's a drink to write about, there's a bar to write about, there's a dress to write about. Why did she choose that dress? Who is the guy who jilted her? But say, write me a torch song. Well, what kind of torch song do you want, you know?
How about a torch song for a middle-aged woman who realizes too late that her old love is the real one? The song is from A Little Night Music. It's sung by Glynis Johns.
Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair.
The whole song is composed of those hesitations and then coming back, and it's like, almost like a hesitation waltz. You see, the whole point of using words like rich is to make the word short so it doesn't sound like the singer has to sustain and can't. The word itself cuts off, as opposed to, isn't it blue, which you'd wonder why she doesn't go, isn't it blue? But Glynis was short breath, so I tried to pick words that would cut themselves off, and also because the character is afraid to go forward, and so she would pull back all the time. So it made it actable for her. The song comes out of the character and the actress. I would not have written the same song if it wasn't Glynis.
And where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Well, maybe next year.
Into the woods you have to go.
Now Sondheim, who has written so much about middle age, has a new musical on Broadway, Into the Woods. This time, the characters from the fairy tales teach about the responsibilities parents have to their children, and children to the future. But as always with Sondheim, the lyrics are so flashy and funny, you don't stop to think about the meaning until later. Take the rap about zapping vegetables, sung by Bernadette Peters. A tangle of tongue twisters. Even the author has trouble getting it right.
But remind me, you two, it's what, rating my arugula what?
Ripping up the rampion, rating my arugula. And
It's in the reverse. It's
oh, because it's rating my arugula, ripping up the rampion.
before that rutabaga.
See, you can't just take it. It's really
Did anybody here sing or write this lyric? I mean, could we have somebody here who knows this?
You're taking the middle of the lyric. You gotta go back to the beginning of the whole R sequence.
He's robbing me, raping me, rooting through my rutabaga, rating my arugula, and ripping up the rampion, my champion, my favorite. I should have laid a spell on him right there.
Should have laid a spell on him. Pause right there, because that's where she needs her breath.
Give me a phrase from Into the Woods that you think is quintessential Sondheim, which feels when you sing it more Sondheim than anything.
It's the song No One Is Alone. And he says, careful. And I went, Steve, I hear Steve saying it. I hear Steve's voice saying that, careful.
Careful, no one is alone. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes.
The show is about parents and children.
Did you want them, children?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't have any. Yeah, I am. But art is the other way of having children, of teaching. I believe that very firmly.